Hey guys, this is Kevin from jazzsound.com. Jazzsound.com is an online store that buys, sells, trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so our customers can easily choose the best watch for themselves in the comfort of their own home. We offer the lowest prices anywhere online, and if you want to know the price of the watch, simply click on the links in the description below. We would greatly appreciate it if you would buy a watch from jazzsound.com once in a while. So today we're going to be doing a review between these two Rolex watches. Here on my left we have the Rolex GMT-Master II, nicknamed the Pepsi, that was recently released at the Basel World Show. Model number 126710. Versus the Rolex No-Date Submariner here on my right. This is the model number 114060. We'll be going over the dial, bezel, case, crown, bracelet, clasp, and we'll talk about the movements towards the end of the video. Alright, so moving right into the dial, you can see basically similar dial styles. We have the maxi style dial with these circular arrow markers, of course, with the additional rectangular at the 3, 6, and 9, and in triangular 12 o'clock position, whereas this date window occupies a 3 o'clock position on the Pepsi, with the Cyclops lens on top of that sapphire crystal for magnification, easy viewing of the date. But we still keep the same patterning of the 6 and 9 having the rectangular arrow markers with the triangular 12 as well. All the arrow markers are fashioned in 18 karat white gold to prevent any tarnishing. Same can be said about the hour and minute hand as well. The hour and minute hand and the seconds hand all are luminous fill and fashioned with the 18 karat white gold, with the luminous filling for pretty much all the hour markers and the hands. We're looking at a highly legible chroma-light display with a long-lasting blue luminescence, so these watches will glow with a blue luminescence in the dark, so you have a nice visibility during the night and the daytime as well. But the main difference here is that, of course, the date window at the 3 o'clock position, the 4 lines of text versus the 3 lines of text, because the Submariner is a diver's watch, so it does mention its water resistance here, the 300 meters or 1,000 feet, versus the GMT Master II, which is not a diver's watch, is more of like of a traveler's watch that has a tracking of additional time zones, so you don't really need that. You're not really going to be diving with this watch, but it does have a nice water resistance as well of 100 meters or 330 feet. So just about a third of the water resistance of the Submariner if you do plan on going diving with this GMT for whatever reason. Besides that, of course, we have the addition of the GMT hand and the red lining instead, to match very nicely with the red undertone of the bezel. And at the 6 o'clock position, you see the Swiss name there. But for the GMT Master II, it has the addition of the modern updated one, which has the Rolex crown logo in between that Swiss made right in between, whereas the Submariner just has a Swiss made put together as so. Those are just the minor differences in the dial. Besides that, it's pretty much similar style glossy black dial with those hour markers. We're going to go ahead and move on to the bezel now. The bezel is where the GMT Master II gets its name, the Pepsi bezel, which is a sort of throwback to the original 1955 GMT that did have the red and blue bezel with the Jubilee style bracelet. So it's sort of a recreation of that old style vintage GMT Master II that if you didn't have a chance to get your hands on, you do have a chance to get your hands on now. And it has both of these bezels, however, are ceramic bezels, so they both have the nice, very shined look to it, with also being very scratch resistant. Different numerals, as the bezels on both these watches have different functions. The Submariners being a tracking of elapsed time with the Arabic numerals for 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50, up to the 60 of elapsed time. Rather seconds, minutes, hours, wherever you like, and the fatter indices for every increment of 5, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, again all the way up to that 60. Whereas the Pepsi GMT has the even Arabic numerals, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, all the way to the 22, a tracking of a total of 24 hours, with the odd numerals being indicated with dots in between each even numeral. So very effective way of conveying that 24-hour period in a very legible, easy to read way. Both the numerals and the indices for dots and rectangular markers are all platinum filled. So both of these have platinum dusting on the numerals themselves to have sort of a nice contrast against the bezel itself, so it makes it easier to read the bezel against that sort of coloration from the black or the red or blue. The other difference between the bezels are the fact that the GMT's is bidirectional, so you can shift it in both ways. So it makes it easier for a person to adjust that additional time zone using the bezel, whereas the Submariner is just a unidirectional bezel. As you can see, you can only shift it the counterclockwise. You cannot shift it clockwise, and that's just to track the elapsed time with divers in mind. This watch is made with divers in mind, so you can be tracking your just say you have like 10 minutes left in your oxygen tank. You want to say estimated. Of course, you don't have that. You won't have a gross estimation, overestimation, where you accidentally bump the bezel and it shifts from that minute hand indication all downwards, and then you have the wrong estimation, and that could prove to be a problem later on. But you can see how easy it is to track that elapsed time, just setting that peridot to the minute hand, and then you can track the elapsed time as the minute hand moves around the dial. So very simple, very easy to use function there. All right, moving on to the case now. Both of these have this similar style case sizing, so we're looking at 40mm case size. So from an index finger to my thumb here, that's 40mm in diameter for both of these watches. The side profile will show you the thickness of each watch. Very similar profiles here, but the GMT is just going to be a little bit larger, just because it has that additional complication of that extra GMT hand and the quick hour jump, as I'll show you here in a second with the crown functions. But both of them have a very nicely high polished side with matching with the high polish on the bracelet itself. Shift that around here so you can take a look at the crown side now. So here we are on the crown side. Nicely high polish on the crown sides, even on the crown protectors themselves. Rolex crown logo on the crown itself, with the indication of 3 little dots right underneath the crown logo, indicating that they both do have a trip lock waterproofness system. Again, while they have the same system, it is different water resistances for these watches. Again, 100 meters or 330 feet for the Pepsi GMT, and 1,000 feet or 300 meters for the Submariner. Now let me go ahead and show you the crown functions. They're going to be different, as they do have different functions being different watches. So unwinding that counterclockwise will open up to the standard position, which you can wind the watch about 15 to 20 clockwise winds is all you need to get the watch started once more. I'm actually going to go ahead and shift that minute hand out of the way here really quickly, and then we're going to go ahead and shift it to the next position, which will allow you to use the quick hour jump system, which is basically letting the hour hand jump to each hour marker very quickly, very easily. It doesn't have an adjustment for the date window. You have to do 2 revolutions of the quick hour jump, of course being a 24-hour period, to be able to adjust the date once. Pulling out the crown to the next position will stop that second hand. As you can see, the second hand is approaching the 6 o'clock position here, and I'll be able to stop it just before it. By pulling the crown out to the final position, you'll be able to adjust the hands bidirectionally. The most important part about this is being able to adjust that additional GMT hand as well to a secondary time zone. So I can do that really quickly here. So let's just say you're having a business flight from London to the Philippines. You can set that GMT hand to the 12-hour period. Let's just say 12:10 a.m. and then you can shift back to that hour hand and jump that 7 hours ahead to 7 a.m. So now you're tracking 2 additional time zones, and then you'll be able to adjust the bezel for that third one if you plan on going to another business trip elsewhere. But now you can see the local time, we have 7:10 a.m., whereas the GMT hand indicates the London time zone of being 12 a.m. 12:10 a.m. So of course, make sure to screw the crown nice and in and tight against the case, as you want to keep the watch water resistant and nice and protected for the crown. For the Submariner, it's going to be very simple crown function, so we're going to go ahead and open that up again. And once again, counterclockwise as shown. Standard position to be able to wind your watch, 15 to 20 winds. But there's no additional function just besides being able to adjust the time. So you pull the crown out once, you're already in the final position, and you can set the time however you like. Same thing with the stopping of the second hand. It stops exactly where you like for precise time setting, and then you can just press that back in, starts the second time once more, and then you can screw the crown nice and tight in against the case. Moving on to the bracelet now. So of course, different style bracelets. We have the Jubilee style bracelet for the Pepsi GMT, and then we have the Oyster style bracelet for the Submariner. The Pepsi style GMT is one of the first Rolex pieces with the Jubilee style bracelet of modern Rolexes nowadays. So if you're interested in the Jubilee style, which has a beautiful 5-piece links, the contrast from the satin finish and outer of the 5-piece links against that high polish of the 3 links in the center, you can get it. Unfortunately, you won't be able to get this GMT on a Oyster style bracelet from Rolex. So it does not have this also beautiful 3-piece style link with satin finish. This is a more sportier style finish, of course, having a satin finish on all 3-piece links instead of having these high polish down the center. Whereas the previous GMT models did have high polish down the center Oyster style bracelet. But that's because the Pepsi is a throwback. Once again, I'm going to keep saying throwback. It's a throwback to the 1955 version, so it did have a Jubilee style bracelet. Main difference here is that it has the folding Oyster class, so Oyster style sporty class, instead of being a full Jubilee style bracelet, such as something like a Datejust that did used to have a full Jubilee style bracelet with the crown clasp, instead of this safety folding Oyster lock. So it sort of takes a hybrid of both being an Oyster style, having an Oyster style clasp, but the dressier style bracelet. But you can see very nice tapering from the first link and downwards to the back of the clasp on both sides, and that's just to help with a nice proportional view of the watch from the frontal view. The Submariner is going to have a larger clasp as well, versus the GMT having a smaller style clasp. And we're going to go into that here in a second. But you can see nice high polish even on the clasp for the GMT Master II, whereas the satin finish travels through on the Submariner. So for the clasp functions, you're going to go ahead and open this up here. So open up that safety folding Oyster lock that sits on top of that folding Oyster. There we are, revealing this nicely high polished clasp blaze with a Rolex name embossed on there. So very, very beautiful clasp. I'm going to start with the functions of the GMT Master IIs first. So right here underneath the clasp features, you can see a nice indentation on the front and on the back of the bracelet as well, and that's called the Easy Link extension feature. So that allows for adjustment of the bracelet to be able to adjust the 5mm outward or inward. Such as on a hot summer day, you will probably want to adjust it outward to give your wrist a little more breathability, as your wrist does swell up on hotter days. You'll be able to give it more breathability and be able to adjust that, and vice versa for colder days. Whereas the Submariner, now that I have the Submariner in my hand here, you can see a little larger class style is a little bit larger because pulling at a 45 degree angle, you can see these little riveted edges right underneath the clasp, and that's called the glide lock extension link. And I wish the GMT had this as well, but it's a very nice feature to be able to adjust the bracelet in 2mm increments. Every rivet's 2mm for a maximum of 20mm, and all you have to do is just simply slide it out, and there you are. Simple and adjusted. Needed to go inward and needed to be a little bit tighter, simply slide it back, and then it'll pop in, and we're all set. And that's, of course, this is a diver's watch. This was made with divers in mind, so that additional portion of that glide lock allows for divers to be able to wear their wetsuits and adjust their bracelet however they like, very efficiently and very easily, as you can see. So I'm gonna go ahead and place this watch back, grab this Pepsi again. All right, so now let's go ahead and move on to the movements of these watches. So the one thing to know about the movements, the Submariner movement is, I wouldn't say an outdated movement, but the Pepsi movement has been updated with newer Rolex parts and house made parts, and it's going to be the main difference between the two. Just besides the Pepsi having a GMT style movement, and the Submariner just having just a very basic bare bones movement. So with the Submariner, we're looking at 3130 movement. Is of course in-house made by Rolex. It just has the simple functions of the hour, minute, and seconds hand, and of course stopping at the seconds hand for precise time setting. It does have the it is within Swiss specs, so the -2 + 2 seconds a day, as they boast about the 6 o'clock position, the superlative of chronometer officially certified, and that's on both watches on 6 o'clock position. The oscillator is a paramagnetic blue parachrome hairspring, which adds resistance against magnetism, and that's on both of these watches. They both have that parachrome blue hairspring. And the power reserve of the Submariner is about 48 hours, meaning you can put this watch down on a Friday evening, pick it back up on the Sunday afternoon, will be keeping time just fine. Versus the Pepsi movement now, the Pepsi movement is an updated movement from, if you were to think about if they were both similar style movements, this one would probably be something similar to the 3131 rather than the 3130. But this is the 3285 movement. 3285 movement in-house made by Rolex, of course, with the updates to the escapement and updates to the escapement and the shock absorbers. So the shock absorbers are now called the Paraflex shock absorbers, which are in Rolex's in-house made shock absorbers, which they claim absorb 50% more shocks than the industry standard KIF shock absorbers, which the Submariner is running, the KIF shock absorbers. The Chrono G escapement is a skeletonized escapement wheel made out of a nickel phosphorus. The skeletonization helps with the reduction of inertia, so it helps keep that precise timekeeping. Also helps with energy efficiency, so the power reserve gets updated to a 70-hour per power reserve versus a 48-hour on the Submariner. Not only that, it has the nickel phosphorus, also helps with the reduction against magnetism as well, paired with the paramagnetic blue parachrome hairspring. So the GMT Master II has additional resistance against magnetism. All right, so let's go ahead and show you these watches on my wrist now. So we're going to start with the GMT Master II. We're going to find that folding oyster. Folding oyster opens up. All right, and then wiggle that back on, folding down, and there we are. So this is the Pepsi GMT Master II. Very beautiful black dial with the red GMT hand, nice contrasted on there, and that unique style of bezel being the blue and the black. Again, this is a throwback to the 1955 watch. So if you didn't have a chance and you didn't get yours back in 1955, well, you can get yours now in 2019. Jubilee style bracelet, absolutely gorgeous with the high polish down the center of the 5-piece links. You're gonna see it's just a very unique watch overall in 2019 with the Jubilee style bracelet, that beautiful colored half colored bezel. Now let me show you the Submariner. Maybe you don't want to stand out too much. Maybe you don't want to be flashy. Maybe you just want something that's just an everyday wear. So once again, folding oyster clasp, nicely satin finished. And just the very simple Rolex style dial, just that black dial with the black ceramic, very simple, just very elegant, wears very nicely on the wrist. All right, so there's the two watches. If you're interested in any of these watches for the lowest possible price, check out our website at jazztime.com. We have the lowest prices guaranteed. We offer a 1-year warranty. If you like the video, please like, comment, subscribe below. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys soon.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model, and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.